All right, we are days away from Uranus transiting into the sign of Gemini. And today we're going to discuss Uranus transiting each house for each rising sign. And I'll give you my prediction and thoughts. So let's get into it. Starting off with Gemini risings, who are going to have Uranus in the first house. Shout out to my man Wise Eye. We just had a great conversation. He's a Gemini rising. And yeah, for the Gemini risings out there, this is your time to shine. If you look at the sequence, you had Uranus in your 12th house spiritually prepping you, awakening you on deeper levels. If you know you've done the work, you should show up confidently to express all that you know. For some, you may have a need to demand respect from others or for your message to be respected. But it's just a matter of find out how to communicate that message effectively, creatively, in the various ways. So when it comes to Uranus in the first house, more than others, you are people that should be stepping into being much more tech savvy. These are going to be integral parts of expanding the self. Another part of expanding the self for Uranus going through the first house, Gemini rising, is going to be collaboration. Or the Aries energy here is going to lead you to initiate. You need to have confidence in what you're doing, what you're saying. And of course, have the confidence to stand behind what you believe in and what you think. So when it comes on to Uranus going through the second house for Taurus risings, this is a power transit, y'all. So if you're Taurus rising, listen up. This is mutable energy here in this fixed house. It deals with your finances, how you're able to generate wealth, your self-worth, things you value. Simply put, Taurus rising, you got to get out your own way. Wherever you've been too fixed, whatever mental loops or scarcity mindsets that you've gotten into, your chief objective on this transit is to get up out of that mindset and manifest more abundance in whatever way, manifesting more self-love through actions that you take maybe via your first house. It's just really about getting out of old ways of being and really embracing the new. So I'm going to say this for Taurus. I predict that the more open you are to changing in whatever way, the more abundance and like that Uranian spark is going to find you. So when it comes on to Uranus in the third house for the Aries risings out there, this is going to amplify the need for movement. I can see a lot of third house Uranus people needing to embrace new environments. Now, remember, the third house deals with short trips. So it's not in the sense of like, oh, I need to just move my whole life or anything. But you need to be adding more to your day-to-day. Let's say you literally have gotten to a routine of just working, going home, or tending to, real world things. Uranus in the third house is like, make time for things you love. Take up a new hobby. Explore things that allows your mind to travel. And then in the physical, that leads to you trying new things, okay? Naturally, this is the house of communication, thoughts, publishing. Let's be real. This is like an AI-centered place. So if you are listening to this and you haven't started tapping into the AI, I suggest you do. Because this transit is about you learning, let's say, the importance or the value of that. But it's very much so about learning to embrace the things connected to the sign. So for the third house, it's about transcending and getting more out of your mind. And how you're going to do so is through the technology and just the different avenues. So movement and learning are big for that transit for sure. When it comes to Uranus in the fourth house, for the Pisces risings, this of course is home, our roots. There's a lot going on here. In the most serious way possible. If you're an American and you're watching this and you've intuitively felt like, I don't want to live in this country anymore, like I want to live somewhere else, follow that intuition. I strongly predict that for many Uranus in the fourth, this is going to lead you into foreign places. You are very much so meant to transcend everything that is going on here that represents an old paradigm. So on another level, on a more personal level, this transit in the fourth house is dealing with like a emotional transcendence or emotional dissolution to some extent. Whatever karmic patterns, emotionally, family wise, that we've been in, we need to detach from them in the best way. Right. For the Aquarius risings, this is the fifth house transit. Uranus in the fifth house here wants you to simply be more of who you are. And this echoes, the sentiment for everyone collectively. It's waking us up to more individuality, unfiltered, expression of authenticity. And here it's about creatively playing towards the things that help you become more of that. So there's many things that you'll want to just experiment with, expand the self. You don't want to limit yourself. This is an interesting one. I would say for people on the outside, if you know someone who has Uranus going through their fifth, they're really liable to become a whole different person. I'm going to give like a crazy example here, but hopefully it'll make sense. This is the type of transit that makes a person go from like a pimp to a pastor. I was this person, but through my journey or whatever I experienced, like this is how I'm reinventing myself. It could also be like a person you didn't know was musically inclined. All of a sudden, they're a musician. It's just like a radical self-transformation with this transit. So the person with it, you just need to have the confidence to show up creatively and embody that. Oh, who's a great person that comes to mind with this? T.I.'s son. He goes by like Buddy Red, but he's kind of like a country artist or very eclectic. That's a great example of Uranus in the fifth house playing out. Capricorn risings got Uranus going through the sixth house. This is going to be about redefining what work is and what ultimately success is. So I feel like for you guys, the remote era, that remote working era was like a preview of now. So I feel like a lot of Capricorn risings are going to be focusing on figuring out how to, we could say, work smarter or just transition into being useful or finding ways to be productive in the ever-changing system. In the other sense, it's your health, it's your everyday routine. So there's a need for some to take more seriously this area of life through just an openness to learn, right, about these things and apply them. So for Capricorn rising, the work is in the sixth house, but it starts out of like a different need. It starts rather than like a security-based need, it's more of a need to keep up intellectually. Okay. Sagittarius risings are going to have Uranus going through their seventh house. And I've been an astrologer for over 12 years. And this is one transit that I guess I know well. And so if you in a relationship or been in a long-term relationship and Uranus is about to enter your seventh house, you have to brace yourself for the fact that you may be going on a path that makes you outgrow your relationship. But it's not necessarily gonna have to happen. What you do is you recognize whether or not you and the people around you, whether it's romantic or friendship, are growing together in whatever ways. Are you supporting each other's growth? Or is just a writing on the wall that this is stale? Remember, it's Sagittarius rising. It's like aspiration. There's also a theme of movement here. Your relationships that are out of alignment are going to lack movement or growth or stimulation. It's kind of going to be like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, trying to share philosophies that don't match up. So it's a revealing transit, and it's one where it's like the lesson is like detachment. So for the Scorpio risings, this is going to be going through your eighth house. And I also see this as like a power play. It's just really how you navigate this. So Scorpio rising is about transformation. It's about going deeper into things that we love or who we are. So this is another one where who you are before this transit starts is liable to be very different than who you are at the end. So I would say embrace the eighth house. The eighth house is key, but it requires you to shed or go through the death process. So the more willing you are to do so, the more you'll experience a rebirth, particularly in that Gemini way of being able to express things more clearly, understand them more clearly. I would say for Scorpio rising, this transit is going to be great for being less emotionally reactive and more intellectually understanding of situations and why we feel the way we feel or people act the way they act. So then for the Libra risings, we got this going through the ninth house. Simply put, you guys have to embrace new partnerships, new networking, new horizons. This transit doesn't want old adventure, it wants new adventures. And it's one of those ones where there has to be a willingness to live and expand. So whatever you're interested in, don't just seek to know that intellectually, but to experience it firsthand, right? So that'll open up the ninth house in the sense of like travel and all of that. But it's like embracing the new in people and experiences and putting things into action. For my Virgo risings, we got this going through the 10th house. Hey, if you have activated your inner workhorse and you are clear about what it is you want and desire, speak those things into existence and put the action behind them. Your hard work is going to be rewarded. This is a message to my Virgo risings. Don't you give up on yourself and what you've been doing. You waited for this time. So clear up your mind, stay consistent, and whatever has worked for you before is going to work even better. So just continue to double down on that. In the next vein, if you're Virgo rising and like you're coming of age, right? You're coming of age and you're trying to find your footing. Don't play it logical or small. Seek to innovate, okay? Don't relate towards your career in a sense of like what is pleasing to others. It's about what is pleasing to you or flowing from your mind. Leo risings, you're going to have Uranus going through your 11th house. And I strongly foresee with this transit the need for leadership out of yourself. But not just leading yourself, but allowing the leadership you cultivate within yourself to inspire you to lend your energy to something greater than yourself. The fact of the matter is our world needs leaders. And when it comes to like politics or whatever now, that's reflecting a lack of care. So this here in the 11th house is really for the youth, right? Or the people coming into power. So if you're like under 40 and you're experiencing this Uranus in the 11th house transit, this is a powerful time to believe in yourself and to stand behind something out here in the world, okay? So this is the transit that makes leaders, or I always call it the 11th house, like the house of popularity. So there's a future humanitarian or politician. You know what also comes to mind with this? The young man who invented soap. He's like 15. He invented soap that can cure skin cancer. So that's the type of energy we need for Uranus here in the 11th house. There's also a need to understand the power of groups, right? So within embracing your own individuality, you learn the strength of numbers and things like that. So for people with Cancer rising, you're going to go through a massive awakening. Things that maybe you've always felt subconsciously are going to start to come up. If you weren't artistically inclined before, you can be stepping into an artist era okay? But as I said before, with all these transits, it's about embracing the ideas or the energy or the pull, right? It's like I can get an idea, but if I don't act on the idea, if I don't sketch it, if I don't speak it, it eventually withers away. So for Cancer risings here in the 12th house, you have to be very conscious of your downloads, of your dreams, and where spirit is guiding you. So there's a lesson here of detachment, but within that detachment, you come into so much more power and freedom. Like your dreams are coming alive. It's just about spiritually supporting them. So this transit is going to cause you to express more of your views on spirituality, or your overall inner faith is going to be more activated. So a lot of code cracking going on for all of us. This is my interpretation of Uranus through all the houses for the signs. Feel free to check out my website if you need a reading. If you want to donate to this channel, hit the link below. Till next time, peace.